So supposedly, when it comes to Zebec, there could be more that's coming soon, at least according to them, in regards to what they're doing for advertising in terms of soccer games. Now, nothing I say is financial advice, and even though ZBCN is not doing the best in terms of price as of right now, I'll talk about later as to why I don't necessarily view it in that way personally for me in my situation. But I'll talk about this real quick because to just give a background story first, real quick, we have to take a look at what Zebec did recently, right? Not that long ago, they appeared in a soccer match when it comes to Bayern München versus Borussia Dortmund. But yeah, besides that point, they appeared in that game. It was like very brief, in my opinion at least. I didn't find it to be anything that significant, but it was pretty cool because even in a post they made not too long ago, they said that their campaign, what they did alongside basically Tangem, they said that their campaign again in that soccer match that I talked about earlier, it was in front of millions of football fans worldwide. They say that, or should I say soccer fans? But yeah, some people call it football, some people call it soccer. However, here's the thing. They say more matches coming soon. So supposedly this is just maybe the tip of the iceberg, right? This might just be somewhat the beginning because they say again, more matches coming soon. So they're probably going to be appearing in more games. That's the way you take a look at it. Or more matches, I should say, to kind of reference them. But here's the thing. People like to say, okay, who cares? ZBCN's not doing the best, around 47 and a half times now, lower than 10 cents. Well, yeah, altcoins are not doing good whatsoever. I mean, it just is what it is, even according to something called sentiment. Alt season discussions, they've hit pretty much rock bottom territory, a level which we haven't seen in years, by the way. In which case, is that a bad thing, though? I'm looking to dollar cost average, right? And if I see a project basically, I think, improving and at least having more exposure, yet the sentiment, first of all, is not doing good overall when it comes to altcoins because after all, ZBCN is an altcoin. First of all, I don't want to exit at a moment like that. Not to mention, I'll be happier for dollar cost averaging because if things are low, that's a time for me to bring the average down. That's the way to take a look at it. I'm only dollar cost averaging once a month. That's it though. But this is just my outlook, not telling anyone to do anything. But here's the thing. People like to say, isn't it a waste of resources if Zebec appears in more soccer matches, yet at the same time, the sentiment isn't doing the best? Well, here's the thing. I think Zebec more so cares about the longevity of their project, right? I think they care more so about adoption. Doing advertisements for short-term attention, that could sometimes be the case when the market's doing good, but I think this one has a different intent. So I think sometimes people think about it in a way where, oh, why isn't it doing much to the charts when it comes to ZBCN? Well, it's because the intent is not to, I think, necessarily do that, quite essentially, right? I think the intent here is more so for long-term awareness when it comes to Zebec, in which case takes quite a while to happen. But that's the intent, I feel like, right? For more so of the long term. So this is not a short-term thing. So when people like to say, oh, why isn't it doing much to the price of ZBCN? Well, first of all, the sentiment's not doing the best when it comes to altcoins. And second of all, I feel like the intent is not necessarily for that anyways. So it's not like it's a flop. It's not like it's a fail or something like that. I don't think about it that way. I think for what it's trying to do, I think it's actually not a failure at all. Because if they're thinking about the long term, at least I presumably think so, I think it actually makes sense that they're doing this. Now, would I have liked the exposure when it comes to what they're doing, when it comes to appearing in those soccer matches to be a little bit longer? Because I did see Coinbase the whole time, but I didn't really see like Zebec. It was very brief, right? And even I had to look over it and look over some pictures that people posted. I had to do that. So yeah, I'd like it to be a little bit longer. But even if it's very brief, if it's in front of millions of people, that right there, I think, could have some long-term effects in terms of the awareness. I'd like it preferably to be a bit longer, but if it's not, you know what, it is what it is. That's the way to take a look at it. I mean, Zebec's not the biggest project anyways. It's probably kind of expensive, right, to be in a soccer match like that. So yeah, but at least it's there. And if they're planning more matches coming soon, or at least appearing in more matches coming soon, I like the mindset there. And actually, funnily enough, they say that there's going to be like a new limited edition wallet that they're getting closer to doing, basically, which again, we know what Zebec did alongside Tangem, right? Not only when it comes to appearing in a soccer match and stuff like that, but also in terms of what they did regarding a wallet. So yeah, I think that if they do release a new limited edition one, I think it'd be pretty cool, maybe gaining some more attention when it comes to Zebec overall, and also just, I think, something cool overall. But yeah, besides that point though, when it comes to Zebec, kind of my mindset as of right now is, yeah, sure, I mean, again, we're not doing the best in terms of the charts, but to me, if ZBCN just goes back to like a 500 million market cap, in which case we literally saw it not even a year ago, right? We're over 2 times lower than that. I mean, if it just goes back to that market cap, I'm already going to Sizzler. That's the way to take a look at it. Already going to Applebee's, right? Already going to Olive Garden. That's my mindset. So it's really like not such a, I think, failure type of moment for me, because if, let's say, ZBCN just went back to where it once was, again, we're over 2 times lower than that. I'm already quite happy, actually, if it were to do that. But at the same time as well, I kind of feel like, why would I exit right now anyways? Like, I have no need to exit, so I don't know why I would do that just because a lot of people are doing it. I just don't want to do that because it just doesn't really make sense to me to leave at a time when basically this sentiment isn't doing the best whatsoever. Again, according to something called sentiment, alt-season discussions are basically at rock bottom territory. I don't want to leave at that moment. Again, when people are ignoring what usually happens, the charts are going down. But you know what? When I like to dollar cost average the most, basically, is when, again, the market conditions aren't doing the best. I can't control that. I can't pick and choose, right? But then if that happens to be the case, I'd gladly be happy to hypothetically dollar cost average. But that's kind of my mindset. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, right? But this is just the way I view this situation as of right now. So when people like to tell me, oh, it's time to give up when it comes to Zebec, well, again, it's up to people, what they want to think about Zebec, right? It's not up to me. I can't speak on anyone's behalf. However, personally for me, if I still see around 90,000 holders, yeah, I just don't want to leave like that. I just don't want to be the one that leaves, personally. There's like pretty much around 90,000 other individuals experiencing what is going on when it comes to ZBCN alongside me, right? It's not like I'm the only one. Clearly that is not the case. But also, here's the way to take a look at it. With like around 90,000 people, if I left ZBCN, it's not going to affect ZBCN in any significant way, actually. That's the thing. Whether I'm in this space or I'm not, it doesn't care. I mean, Zebec's going to do whatever it wants to do, either down or up, whatever the case may be, with or without me. The roller coaster happens with or without me, by the way, right? That's kind of my mindset. It's like, was I holding Bitcoin 10 years ago? No. Did it do its thing without me? Yeah. But had I been holding, would it still have done that? Probably. I think so. Like, I can't affect this, right? With or without me, the roller coaster happens. But I can't go back in time, of course. So the thing for me is, I'd rather focus on right now. And if some of my friends out there, their mindset is they're happy and they're glad to see Ethereum and Bitcoin have a pullback because they like the dollar cost average, my mindset is basically that. I take that exact same principle, but I just apply it here. In which case, they're happy Bitcoin and Ethereum's having a pullback. I'm happy that Zebec's having a pullback for dollar cost averaging reasons. So yes, at first glance, it may not be viewed as a good thing. The chart's going down. However, temporarily, for dollar cost averaging, I don't see why it's a bad thing for me in my specific case, even though I do not speak on anyone's behalf. But if they're going to be announcing more matches when it comes to what they're going to be appearing in the Bundesliga alongside Tangem and maybe in future upcoming soccer matches, yeah, again, I'll be sure to make an updated video when it comes to that. So hopefully I'll stay tuned for those videos. And I want to say thank you for watching. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.